Saturday morning. I need to go and sort out my Canadian phone. I've run out of data because I used it like I use my phone. And of course it didn't have enough data on it, so I need to go and sort that out so we at least have a phone to use whilst we're travelling from Prince George back to Calgary through the Rockies. So we've just come back from, we don't normally, when we're at home, we don't have breakfast, but we've sort of fallen into a eating breakfast routine and then not having lunch and then not eating anything till evening dinner. So we've just come back from the onslaught that's called breakfast. We're really struggling with the noise levels here. Last night we were down in the same room in the same restaurant for an evening meal because we were too late to book anywhere and too tired, and there was live music and we asked for a quiet table. Well, fuck knows what the loud table was like because we could not hear. And of course with this, people are shouting to be heard. It was the same on the train. People are shouting to be heard, and then somebody's shouting over them to be heard, and it's just a whole shouting thing, and we're just not used to it. It's just unbelievable. So yeah, come back here for some peace and quiet. We'll sit here for an hour and recover before we go back into the fray and encounter people. Heather, we're enjoying it. Heather doesn't think we're enjoying it. We're enjoying it, but I'm a bit real when I'm talking about it. And the train, I was real about how that was. It was an amazing experience, but it was also a feat of endurance on the train for us. I don't know how people do it. People on the train talked about other trips they'd done, and I don't know how they do it, because we certainly weren't sleeping. The bed was hard. The train, was, I know that it's nice to be rocked to sleep by a train, but we were shaken to sleep or shaken awake by the train. We're loving being here. This is an amazing place to be, of course. I think we've just realised that we are happy in our quiet life, and being out in the loud world is just overwhelming, and I'm not sure how we've come to prefer a quiet life. I'm not sure, but we do. But this will be amazing to remember when we go home to quiet France, to the quiet restaurants where nobody shouts at you, where people aren't shouting, where kids aren't screaming. We were awake at about 5:30, and there were people cycling along here, walking along here. It's an amazing, if I were young and fit, it's an amazing place to just run or cycle. The waiter last night, they just don't take in your situation and saying, so what have you guys got planned for tomorrow? And we talked about what we had planned for tomorrow, and he talked about cycling to Stanley Park, which is over there, which for any normal person is nothing. Look, it's just round here. It's all flat. It's fine. Mark can't do that. I can't do that. Well, I might be able to do it, but I don't think I will. And, get there and then cycle round it. But you sort of say, actually, we won't be able to do that. Mark's knees are not really doing very well. And he just carried on, Anyway, why should they bother about what our needs are? See, these are nicer than the condominiums in Toronto that were on the lakeshore. They've got balconies, they've got trees on them. They're sort of slightly shaped. They're not all the same shape. There's some individuality to them. I think that's much nicer. And there's lots of open greenery in front. There's just like open greenery everywhere, which is lovely. It really is a heavenly bed. I can't tell you that first day we came, after we'd waited and waited and waited, having arrived far too early, and collapsed onto the bed, and I collapsed onto the bed and didn't move. It's like it was just like being held. It was amazing. And I did the same again when I went back this morning. We were up at 5:30, and then we had about an hour and a half, and we went back to sleep again. I did the same again this morning, and it's just amazingly comfortable. And the bedding is really comfortable. I think that's all made by the same company. It's not cheap. I think there's going to be a boat reversing out from somewhere. Going to run those scullers over. That's going away. These two, I don't know whether you can see the Canadian geese flying along this. I really don't understand. I don't know whether they're a pair or what, but they use a lot of energy during the day, flying backwards and forwards, shouting at each other. Maybe they are a couple if they're shouting at each other. But I sort of think if they're using all that energy, they can't be parents, because if they were parents, they would be conserving energy and finding food, but they just spend all morning shouting at each other and then all evening shouting at each other. When I've seen other skeins of geese going over quietly, not shouting. So I think these are adolescents. So, hope you're having a nice Saturday, or have had a nice Saturday.